Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om
Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurvetanyena Tasmai Shri Chaitanya Manovishyam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaura Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the program this evening. So my understanding is the temple was inaugurated in April this year, am I right? And the deities were installed. Basically in society, there are two sections of individuals. One is the spiritualists and the other the gross materialists. The materialists believe the spiritualists are wasting their valuable time, and the spiritualists believe the materialists are wasting their valuable time. Among the spiritualists, you have two basic divisions. One is those who believe that God has a form, and the other is those who believe that God is impersonal in nature. The impersonalists believe, how can God have a form? That's crazy. God is all-pervasive. And since God is all-pervasive, how can He retain His original form? So they conclude that those who worship the deity are simply fools. They don't understand that God is all-pervasive, so He can't have a form. Once recently, one important man had come to see me at our Delhi temple. So we spoke for some time. And then I wanted him to go and have darshan of the deities. So every time I would tell him, please, have darshan, let's have darshan of the deities, he would give some excuse. Finally, after half an hour, he said, I don't believe in deity worship. So that's why I don't have darshan. So, they are so-called transcendentalists who deny, who don't accept if God can develop, can appear in the Archa-Vigraha form. The Vaishnava devotees, on the other hand, think, why can't God appear in a deity form? What is difficult for the Lord? Is anything impossible for the Lord? Yes, no? No. He is a Achyuta. He is a Chintya. He is infallible. He is inconceivable. The word no doesn't exist in the Lord's dictionary. God can do anything, appear in any form. So this Archa-Vigraha form of the Lord, or in other words, the appearance of the Lord in a deity form, is completely bona fide. And the deity is installed under the direction of the bona fide Acharya and with proper procedures, and then God appears in that deity form. So for us to think God cannot manifest Himself in a deity form is actually a great insult to God. We are limiting God's ability. God has many characteristics. One of his characteristics is Angani yasa sakalendra vridhimanti. With any one part of his body, he can do the function of any other part. For example, when you and I have to eat, we have limited options. What is our option? Consume through the mouth, am I right? But God, he consumes through the eyes and the ears. We place a plate of prasad at his lotus feet, chant some mantras, and beg the Lord to accept it. And after 15-20 minutes, we lift the plate of the altar and say, God has eaten. So the impersonalist thinks, oh, I have an argument now to defeat the personalist. What's his argument? When you and I eat, the plate becomes empty. Is that right? Is there prasadam tonight after that program? Yeah? Okay. I heard you all have a trend of giving prasadam first and next to it. Okay. So when you have prasad tonight, you'll see, when you eat, the plates become empty. But when God eats, the plate remains intact. Is that true? So they say, look at these fools. They say God has eaten, but all the prasad is still on the plate. They don't realize that God eats through his eyes and ears. Through his eyes, he sees the offering prepared by the devotee. And through the ears, he hears your prayer. And the Lord eats it. If you took a dropper and you had prepared a special liquid soup, and you tried to pour drops in your ears and eyes, will it reach your stomach? Yes? No? No. Why? Because that is not the proper procedure. For God, he is inconceivable. Just like when Krishna appeared on the planet, he appeared not like you and I, he appeared in his four-handed transcendental form, beautifully decorated and ornamented. And then, when his parents said, now, you better transform yourself to an ordinary child, or the Kamsa will detect that you have appeared. He at once transformed himself to an ordinary child. Have any of us seen in history somebody appearing with ornamentation and silken clothing? No. That is God. God means he does the impossible. The Lord appeared as half man, half lion. What's that incarnation called? Yeah. Now, to the average man, God appearing as half man, half lion, it's a crazy idea. Am I right? In the early days of our movement, we had a court case in the United States, and the other side was trying to prove this is a brainwash, this is not a genuine movement. So they brought a picture of Nrsimhadev in the court and said, my Lord, this is their God, half man, half lion. Is that possible? And a foolish American jury said, yeah, it's not possible. So God can appear as half man, half lion. And the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord reciprocates with the devotee in proportion to our surrender. So God appears as Archa Vigraha, and he appears in multiple forms. We have Gauritai, Radha, Gopinath, Gopi, Jana Ballabha here, Sitaram, Lakshmana, Hanuman, etc. And this form should be accepted as unrenewable law. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, You read a story of a rich elderly person going to Vrindavan on a pilgrimage. The rich person fell ill during parikram, and he was assisted to complete the parikram by a young Brahmin. The older Brahmin, after the parikram, said, "You saved my life. You made this parikram possible. I must do something extraordinary for you." The poor Brahmin said, "Sir, that was my duty. I didn't do any favor. I just discharged my duty." But he said, No, I'm going to do something actually. And he promised his daughter in marriage. The poor Brahmin said, "So you're so rich, I'm so poor." In India especially, this is very prevalent, high caste, low caste. Your family members will never agree to this marriage. He said, "No, in my house, my will prevails." So when he went back and told his family that he almost died on the parikram, but this poor Brahmin assisted him all along and enabled him to complete the parikram. And then in exchange, he promised his daughter in marriage, the wife and the son. No, under no circumstances. So time elapsed, a month went by, and the young Brahmin didn't hear anything. So after a month he came to the rich man's house and said, "Sir, you remember the promise you gave?" The rich man was in a delicate position. He wanted to honor his commitment, but because of the opposition from his wife and children, he could not do it. He was neutral. He didn't respond. The rich man's son said, "Why are you here? When my father was at pilgrimage, you drugged him up and robbed him of his riches. Now you want to marry my sister." The poor Brahmin said, "No, this is not true." Anyway, finally, the young Brahmin said, "I have evidence, proof that your father promised me his daughter." The rich man's son said, "Okay, who's your proof?" And this promise was secured in front of the deity of Gopal. So the devotee said, "The evidence is the deity of Gopal, in front of whom the promise was made." So the rich man's son said, "That deity of Gopal? That's going to testify?" Impossible. "Okay, if the deity testifies, I'll surrender." So the devotee went running to Vrindavan from Orissa, and he came to Vrindavan. He came to the deity, offered his obeisances, and begged the deity, "My reputation is at stake. I'm being accused of drugging up this rich man." And he lost his prestige in the Brahminical community. One who's honored, Kṛṣṇa said, "Dishonor is worse than that." So can you please testify, my Lord, that the old man promised his daughter in marriage? The deity replied, "How can I walk so far? I'm in Vrindavan. The testimony has to be given in Orissa. I can't walk this far. And I can't walk at all." The young Brahmin said, "My dear Lord, if you can walk, if you can talk, you can also walk." And the Lord felt defeated. And the Lord walked all the way and testified to rescue his devotee's reputation. So in our scripture there are many examples, many wonderful stories. There was a devotee called Madhavendra Puri. He was the spiritual master of Ishwara Puri. Ishwara Puri was the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Maharaj Puri was a very advanced Paramahansa. He would not ask anyone for anything. He would eat if provided, otherwise he would go hungry. And he would be engaged in chanting the names of the Lord for 24 hours. So one day, Maharaj Puri was resting after having completed his Govardhan Parikrama at a place called Govindakund. How many of you have done Govardhan Parikrama? Okay. So you may recall, you stop at a place called Govindakund. So at Govindakund he was just relaxing. He had just done Parikrama. When a very beautiful cowherd boy came with a pot of milk and said, Maharaj Puri, I know you're hungry. Here's a pot of milk. Please drink this milk. I'll milk the cows and come back and take the pot. Maharaj Puri said, how did you know I was hungry? And he responded, the gopis of my village had come here to milk the cows, and they saw you and concluded you must be hungry. So please drink this milk and I'll be back soon. Maharaj Puri drank the milk, but that beautiful boy never came. He had never seen such a beautiful, handsome boy. He had never heard such a melodious voice. So Maharaj Puri waited and waited, but no one came. So he fell asleep, dozed off to be precise. As he dozed off, he had a dream again. In that dream, the same boy who had given him milk took him by the hand and said, Maharaj Puri, I'm very pleased for your service, but I'm feeling great heat. Please come and rescue me and install me. During the Mughal period, most of the temples of Vrindavan were destroyed. So many deities were taken to Guru Jaipur, and many were destroyed, and many were hidden underground. So this deity of Gopal was technically installed nearly 5,000 years ago by Krishna's great-grandson. So it's a historical deity. The deities are of two types. One is self-manifested and the other is carved according to direction in the scriptures. And there are a few self-manifested deities like Nadwara, Tirupati, etc. So in the dream, the Lord said, I've been hidden underground, please take me out and install me. So Maharaj Puri shared the dream with the villagers, and they went exactly to the spot which was described in the dream. And they dug, they found the big deity. The deity was so heavy, you needed several devotees to lift it. So in 2 days, Maharaj Puri arranged and the deity was installed. Maharaj Puri arranged installation in a very big way. After 2 years of worship of the deity, Maharaj Puri had a dream again. In the dream the Lord said, I'm very indebted to you. You installed my deity, but I'm still feeling heat. So please go and bring some chandan, or what is the English word? Sandalwood. Sandalwood, as some of you may know, is applied on the Lord in the summer season to cool the Lord. So the Lord said, I'm feeling great heat. Please go and bring chandan. So Maharaj Puri left the deity care and the two Brahmanas, and he proceeded to Jagannath Puri, which was a pilgrimage of many thousand kilometers. If you are ordered in a dream, go to travel 4 days on foot to bring sandalwood for your deities in. What is it?
Gopijana Vallabha.
To bring a Gopijana Vallabha. How many of you would be ready to do it? If you were told, go walk for 4 days and nights, bring some sandalwood for her, your Lordship Śrīla Gopijana Vallabha. How many of you would do it? No one. Or one. Or two, okay. And maybe we should test you. Okay. So, Madhavan Puri proceeded. Then he reached a historical temple in Remuna, which is in Orissa. That temple has the deities of Radha, Kishore, Gopinath, Radha Gopinath, which are also self-manifested. So, that temple is noted for having very delicious sweet rice offered to the Lord. Every evening, 12 cups of sweet rice are prepared and offered to the deities. So Madhavan Puri was thinking, if only I could have the privilege of tasting the sweet rice, I could go back and prepare similar sweet rice of my deities. But unfortunately, he manifested his desire while the offering was going on. The rule is, we make the offering, let the Lord eat for 15-20 minutes, and then when it comes off the altar, that's when he can taste it. But he manifested a desire while the offering was going on. So Madhavan Puri, without tasting, he was embarrassed that he had a desire to taste the sweet rice while the offering was going on. He left the temple and proceeded to the marketplace to chant Hare Krishna. What did the Lord do? What did he do? He stole the glass of sweet rice, hid it behind the curtain, and told the pujari in a dream, I have hidden a glass of sweet rice. Please go to the market and give it to Madhavan Puri. So the pujari, priest, went to the market. He said, is there anyone by the name of Madhavan Puri here? And when he heard his name, he told him, how fortunate you are. The Lord has stolen sweet rice for you. So, the point we're trying to make is, God appears as a person, and his form is transcendental. And here is an example of the deity appearing, the deity stealing a cup of sweet rice for his devotees. So God will reciprocate in the deity form in proportion to our surrender. If we understand that here is God present in the Ashray form, this God will even speak to you. But if you think, oh, this is just a statue, these fools don't know the difference between statue and they don't know that God can appear, God has no form. Then, should we just offer that? Should we take a 1 minute break?
Yes.
Are they opening the curtain now?
Yeah, they are opening curtain.
And they close, right? Okay. I'm having darshan. I say the beauty is so beautiful. You all sit with me. So the point we were making is God appears in his deity form, and this deity is not different from the Lord. So when we see a deity of the Lord as Jagannath Subhadra Balaram, a deity of the Lord as Radha Krishna, Gaurita, Sita, Ram, Lakshmana, Hanuman, we must accept here is God manifesting himself in the Ashray form. Why does God manifest himself in the Ashray form? It gives us an opportunity to engage in service. It gives us an opportunity to have an understanding of what God looks like. In the Western world, you ask people, what does God look like? The probable answer would be, oh, he's an old man with a beard. They think they're Santa Claus. But that's not God. God is a very youthful. One of the other characteristics of God is Adhyam Purana Purusham Navyanam. He is the oldest when he looks youthful. Have you ever seen a picture of Krishna with wrinkles on his cheeks or wearing glasses? No. But God doesn't age with the passage of time. He is transcendental. Transcendental means beyond the mold. And Krishna says in the Gita, Janma karma chame. One who understands the transcendental nature of my appearance and disappearance, he comes back to me. So you and I take birth according to karma. But the Lord appears on his own free will, and he accepts his own devotees as father and mother, just like Vasudeva and Devaki. They performed extreme austerities for 12,000 years. They didn't eat anything or drink anything. They just breathed, inhaled air. And they were constantly meditating. May we have the Lord as our son. So we must understand, for God, nothing is impossible. And a higher realization of God is to accept God in personal form. So when we see the deity of the Lord, we should be very respectful. The Vedic tradition is, we bow down to the Lord and offer our respect. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has done us for the Supreme Lord, gave Sanatana Goswami detailed instructions on the process of devotional service. And he summarized them into five main points. One was sadhu sangha. The next one was, who knows? Chanting the holy name. The third one was, who knows? Reading the scriptures. Fourth one was worshiping deity with faith and reverence. Not just worshiping faith and reverence. And fifth was living in the Dham. The first is spiritual association. The spiritual association with sadhu sangha is very important. Without spiritual association, it's hard to progress on the spiritual path. Is that true or false? We need spiritual association to encourage, we need to encourage each other, and spiritual association is highly recommended. This association we get through two avenues. One is the devotee, is Bhagavad, and the book Bhagavad. Just like there's a great emphasis in ISKCON on book distribution. Why? Because these books contain knowledge that can change our life. Last week I was in Montreal, and there was a French-Canadian girl who joined our movement about a year ago. She had a very bad background. She was suicidal type nature. She was told by a friend, somebody is selling a Bhagavad Gita online, second-hand Bhagavad Gita for $2. She went online, saw an old French Bhagavad Gita that somebody was selling for $2. She ordered it, read the whole Gita, got very convinced by the philosophy, subsequently came to the temple and became a full-time devotee. And how was she introduced? Through the Bhagavad Gita. So there are umpteen examples to show how these books have changed the lives of people. So we should be in sadhu sangha. Spiritual association. Dhruva Maharaj has performed such great austerities, and the Lord was very obliged. Lord said, Dhruva, ask me for any benediction you want. And Dhruva said, my dear Lord, if you want to give me any benediction, please give me the benediction, that I may be in the association of advanced devotees. Because by being in that association, I will get knowledge how to cross over the ocean of birth and death. So we should look forward to association. We should look forward to association of more advanced, equally advanced and less advanced. When you meet somebody more advanced, you're joyful, because you're going to hear something that's going to help you on the spiritual path. When you meet somebody equally advanced, we make friendship. Friendship in a sense, we pair up together to serve the Lord in various capacities. When you meet somebody less advanced, you display compassion. How many of you go on book distribution? You have any book distribution? Yeah. How many of you go regularly on book distribution in this city or a neighborhood city? How many? 1, 2. I was recently in San Jose, and there are more than 100 devotees like you, congregational devotees, who go on book distribution every weekend. We call it the Weekend Warrior Program. So we display our compassion by preaching. Now, if you have genuine spiritual association, you get genuine knowledge. And what is the genuine knowledge? In this age of Kali, chanting the holy names of the Lord in this sublime process. Parikshit Maharaj inquired from GKG Goswami, how will people in Kali Yuga be saved? And GKG Goswami said, Kali Dasi Nidirajan, O King, Kali Yuga is an ocean of vice. Wherever you see his invitation for sense enjoyment. But there is one benediction in this age. What is that one benediction? Kirtana deva Krishna Mukta Sangaskarami. Chanting the holy name. So this holy name is our most important activity. The holy name is descending from the spiritual world. And Thakur Bhaktivinoda in one of his prayers says, Grihe thako, vani thako, sada hari bole thako. Doesn't matter, you may be a householder, living with wife and children, or renunciate, please chant the holy name. Whether you're in happiness or distress, please chant. Generally, when we're experiencing material happiness, we don't have time for God. Is that true? And when we are experiencing material distress, we turn to the Lord. But Thakur Bhaktivinoda says, in both the situations, chant the holy name. So this chanting the holy name, we should realize this holy name is descending from where? Where is it descending from? The spiritual world. And the holy name is not different from the Lord. Many times, non-devotees, even in places like India, they accuse us. You people are brainwashed. How can you chant the same name again and again and not get tired? Is that possible? Yes, no? No. Yes. It's possible. Because these holy names are non-different from the Lord. So this chanting the holy name results in cleansing of the heart, and it leads to experiencing unending happiness. So if you are in genuine association, you'll get the importance of chanting the holy name. We have example of sages who chanted all day. Then, what did Lord Chaitanya say? Read the Bhagavatam and the Gita. These are books of knowledge. Book of Bhagavad Gita is a book of transcendent knowledge. Summarizes the vast Vedic literature. Tells us what to do and what not to do. How many of you have a copy of Bhagavad Gita as it is in your home? And I imagine most of you have it in your smartphones too. Next question. How many of you read the Bhagavad Gita every day? Okay. Some do. Many were honest and said no. So make it a point to read the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna for our betterment. We need to have spiritual education besides material education. Just material education will not help. Spiritual education educates you in the higher values of life, which is necessary. So, worship that we read the books that will give you knowledge. Then the Lord said, worship the deity with faith and reverence. So these things are not difficult to execute. We are so fortunate that we have received knowledge on the process of devotional service. Some people sitting in the audience have been practicing Krishna consciousness for a period of time. Some in the audience are probably newcomers, and some may have come out of curiosity. Krishna says, people come to me due to 4 factors. What are the 4 factors? One who wants money. But I was told, the Farmington devotees don't want money. Is that true? The Detroit devotees want money. Huh? Okay. So, even if you want money, Krishna says, come to me. Then one who is in distress, he comes to me. The inquisitive and the genuine seeker of knowledge. Krishna says, all of them are pious, Puryatma, but the best is when it comes to me as a result of transcendental knowledge. It doesn't matter what the motive is, come to Krishna. Krishna is so powerful, he's the cleanse your heart, just like the sun has the capacity to purify even contaminated water. So you are fortunate, you received knowledge on the importance of devotion. Now this knowledge has to grow, has to be fructified. And Lord Chaitanya gives example. Just like a seed grows when you water it, our devotional creeper will grow and we chant the holy name. With chanting, staying in association, studying the Bhagavad Gita, worshipping the Lord with faith and reverence are the key factors that will help us to make spiritual advancement. The Lord is so kind, He appears in His holy name. The Lord is so kind, He appears in His books. The Lord is so kind, He appears in the Archa Vigraha form. So the Lord is making it very easy for us to approach Him. Unfortunately, we are so foolish, we don't value how rare this human birth is. So, all of you sitting here are here because you have some element of interest in spiritual life. Is that true? Yes. Some may have more, some may have less. But our goal should be to understand spirituality, understand the importance of devotional service, and make progress on the spiritual path. Just like on the material path, would you be happy being stagnant on your income in the job all your life? No. You want to progress. So we should also endeavor to progress spiritually. So please take devotional service as an important activity. Don't take it too casually. Our approach is, everything else is important in life. The only thing that's not important is spirituality. That you take a casual approach. But we should take a serious approach. And time and tide, do they wait for us? You say, okay, I'll take the spiritual life 20 years later. What's the guarantee? The end may not come earlier. So there is danger at every step. That is the reality in material life. So our life is full of dangers. And the only precaution is taking shelter of the Lord, the Lord. So please take shelter of the holy name, read the Bhagavad Gita, come regularly to the temple, and make an endeavor to make spiritual progress, and that will give you unlimited happiness. If somebody thinks that you're going to get material happiness by material efforts, it's illusion. In the Bhagavatam, the following example is given. The fish is very attracted to a particular type of food. So the fisherman puts that in the bait. The fish sees it, says, oh, here is something for me to eat. And the moment it goes there, it gets trapped. The moth is very attracted to light. And in the night, you put on the switch, the moth, this is the light I was waiting for. And the moth goes to sit on the light, and it gets burned to death due to the hot heat. The deer is a very hard animal to capture. So what does the hunter do? He plays the melody of the horns, because the deers are very fond of hearing this melody, the rubbing of horns. And then that deer that was always running stops to hear. Where is the sound coming from? And when he stops to hear, the cunning hunter shoots him and he dies. You have the bee. The bee is trying to satisfy its nose. The bee goes from one flower to another. Finally it finds a lotus flower. Goes and sits on the lotus flower and says, this is heaven, this is samadhi. And it goes into, it sits where it relaxes. But in the evening, the lotus flower closes, and when the flower closes, the bee gets trapped to death, dies. The he-elephant is captured in a very difficult way. He is made to follow a she-elephant, and a ditch is dug, covered by grass. So when the he-elephant steps on the grass, he falls in the ditch and is captured. So these examples there in the Bhagavatam. The moth meets its death in trying to satisfy its eyes. The deer meets its death by trying to satisfy its ears. The bee meets its death by trying to satisfy its nose. The fish meets its end by trying to satisfy its tongue. And the elephant meets its death by trying to satisfy the sex urge. So this example is given in the Bhagavatam to show that if we similarly follow our senses, we would meet a similar end. Therefore it is said, purify your senses, engage them in service to the Lord. Your eyes see the beautiful form of the Lord, like you have very beautiful deities here. Your tongue, chant the names of the Lord. Ears, hear the glories of the Lord. With your nose, smell the incense offered to the Lord, or the flowers. So use purify your senses and use them in service to the Lord. So we hope that you all become determined to pursue spiritual life. Chant the holy name regularly. How many of you chant the holy name every day? Okay. Chant the holy name and be determined to achieve spiritual success. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Any questions? No questions? Yeah.
I was just gonna say, those different animals, or
Who meet their end.
yeah, and different, but for the human form, all the senses are affected.
The animals that we listed usually they try to satisfy one of the main senses. The human animal, he wants to satisfy all of them at the same time. With his eyes, he wants to see pornography. With his tongue, he wants to eat without discrimination. With the ears, he wants to hear Mitchell melody. So, any more questions? Yes.
You mentioned in the past that for everything we should approach the Lord, but it's also an offense, right, that to have the 8 offenses, like the 𝐾𝐲𝐿. How do we reconcile both?
I didn't say for everything we should approach the Lord in one context.
You said that not matter what the motivist approach was.
Oh, Krishna does say, people come to me due to 4 factors. So even if you are motivated, go to Krishna. Your motivation will gradually get purified. Krishna says that in the Gita himself. He says, whatever benediction the demigods give is actually coming from me. Don't go anywhere, come to me. Any more questions?
How to stay determined?
Huh?
How to stay determined in bhakti process?
How to stay determined on the bhakti path? Anyone wants to volunteer a reply? No? Yes.
Follow the instruction of Guru.
Rupa Goswami gives you the answer. All of you know Rupa Goswami. Who is Rupa Goswami?
Goswami was the younger brother of Sanatana Goswami. They were originally prime minister. They were originally minister to Nawab.
Yes. They were virtually running the most important kingdom of the world 500 years ago. But then he left everything and went to Vrindavan. And Lord Chaitanya instructed them, identify places where the Lord performed his pastime, write books on devotional service, and construct temples. So Rupa Goswami says, Adho Shraddha Tada Sadhu. In the initial stage, you must have the desire in your heart. I want to serve the Lord. I want real religion. I don't want fake religion. So if we have that desire, because Krishna is in the heart, just like when you pass through a garden, you can smell the flower and identify the fragrance. So similarly, the Lord can smell all our desires. What desire you have, what plans you're making, you don't have to tell the Lord. It's automatically. These days you're amazed by what the computers can do. This is Lord's intelligence is a million times more powerful. So if your desire is sincere, genuine, the Lord guides you to a devotee, to a temple. And when you come with their association, you receive knowledge, how to chant, how to read. This is known as bhajana kriya. And when you execute that process, then your anartha get weakened and nishta, determination develops. So the bottom line is, by practicing the process of bhakti yoga, you can develop determination. Nothing comes in life without making an effort. Is that true or false? Does the company give you the paycheck even if you stay at home? Do they do that? So you have to make an effort. God helps those who help themselves. Okay, any more questions? Yes.
Gopal, you mentioned that the people who believe in the formless God, they are not violating the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita that he is a Purushottama.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Lord speaks. But, I don't want to be blunt, some people are shameless. They say, yes, it is there, God has no form. God is formless. So that is unfortunate. What can you do? Even the Bible says, man is made in God's image. So, God has a form, that's why we have a form. But there's a difference. Krishna, when he opens his mouth, he shows the whole universe, all the demigods. But when you open your mouth when you go to a dentist, let's be happy dentists in the audience, what do you see? Just saliva and mucus. And then, you haven't seen any patient with the whole universe. So, because that's the difference between God and us. We are not transcendental. When we open our mouths in front of the mirror, all you see is mucus. When the Lord opens his mouth to his mother, she sees all the demigods, all the universes, all the planetary systems, how the laws of karma are working, all in a small child's mouth, not even an adult. So that's the difference between God and us. Okay, any more questions? No more? Yes.
Does Paramatma reside in the human physiology?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat?
Does Paramatma reside in the human physiology?
In the heart. I couldn't hear.
Does Paramatma reside in the human species also?
Physiology.
He resides within everyone's heart. He resides in the heart of the ant also, tiny ant. The Paramatma resides in our heart and he fulfills many functions. Take example, you say, I want to buy the most expensive car. I want a house in the best area of Detroit or Farmington. You have all these desires. And then the Paramatma checks it out quickly on his computer. What's the debit credit balance? And the Paramatma says, oh, he can't get the latest Mercedes. He has to travel in a beaten up Russian Lada. That's what he gets. He's not going to get a mansion in Farmington. He'll probably get a hut in Africa. So the Paramatma, he is the ultimate sanctioning authority. When we say man proposes, God disposes, actually it is man proposes, Paramatma disposes. And then he is a witness to all our activities. The atheist often says, who is a witness to all these things? They say, you Vaishnavas say God is there, soul is there. But who is a witness? Like in a regular court of law, you get convicted only if there is witness. So who is a witness? Who knows? But Paramatma is not the only witness. The sun and the moon are the two eyes of God. The sun God, the stars, the wind God, and above all, the Paramatma. So there are several witnesses, you may say. Suppose we're doing something wrong in closed doors. The Paramatma is the sun God and the moon God. They can see through. When you travel, you don't realize when you check in your baggage goes through an X-ray machine to see if there's nothing dangerous inside. They can see through. So the materialists can have such a device. Why can't the sun and the moon, the two eyes of God, see everything? Okay? Yes, sir. How to chant? God has given us one tongue and 2 ears. Am I right? Is that true or false?
True.
Just chant. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. One thing is, anyone can chant the holy name. I have yet to meet anyone who says, oh, Hare Krishna is too difficult to pronounce. It's so easy. Whether you're Chinese or Russian, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have predicted, the holy name will be chanted everywhere. Today it's happening. But the holy name can easily be chanted. Is that your question, sir? Do you chant or do you want to start chanting? I have a question to you. Oh, purely. Good question. When you sit down to do your japa, try to be attentive, which means you're doing your japa, just concentrate on your japa and all these other activities. And if you chant attentively, that will lead to pure chanting. Okay? The holy name is done from the Lord, so we should be very respectful to the holy name. Okay? Okay, any more questions?
I have a question. So the prescribed method for this age is chanting. So what is the significance of deity worship in this age?
Oh. Deity worship also has a role to play. Deity worship gives you an understanding of what God looks like. Deity worship, if you are Brahmanically initiated, allows you to worship Him. And if you're not Brahmanically initiated, you can clap, sing, dance for the pleasure of the deities. There's a deity worship, is also essential. But chanting is the key, the most important. But then there are other supplementary activities, reading and deity worship. But we don't say just do deity worship and don't chant. Chanting will be done on a priority basis.